Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stat Check episode 72. This is Slav Check featuring The Box, which, for anybody who's not been in our Discord recently, will be explained as we get to it. But that's details for later. I'm Innes, and I'm joined by Anthony because Nathan and Jeremy are otherwise indisposed this weekend, or this week. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that we are not going to have the data this week. There was not a ton of events this weekend. I believe there was 4. So getting it processed hasn't been a super high priority. It'll get done at some point. So if you're when the dashboard gets updated and all that kind of thing, you'll check it out, and we'll do a bumper. We're probably over the next couple of weeks going to have a bumper review of like the 6 months of 10th edition that we've had or so. So expect to see a lot more stats content over the next couple of weeks. But for now, you have the people who play the game more talking because we don't. I don't do stats. It's confusing and it goes over my head. Anthony, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. Things are going well. Hanging out. I got this idiot.
Cat.
So that's pretty good. No, I just fucked up my whole webcam. It's fine. Fixed. Easy. Nope, too high. I'll fix that in a second. So yeah, aside from that, things are going pretty good. I got the new Fleshly Quartz AOS box, so that's very exciting. Fucking love them. More passionate about them, honestly, than any army in 40k right now, TBH. The shit is cool. The box is like really nice, comes with like a bunch of random like units and stuff, and then they give you like this whole pack of cards that I just showed you. That's all the data sheets in the box. So when you play a game, you can have everything nicely laid out. Imagine getting stuff for free, dude. Couldn't be 40k. So yeah, that's it. Nothing too exciting in the last little bit. Going to some play in some borough of New York City this weekend. I have very little information on it. No, I'm going with Anna and her parents. Let's go.
You definitely wound down into holiday season, Anthony, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm doing nonsense. I don't have a tournament until Pyra, dude. Like, I'm just a man doing stuff. Shout out to my homie Kenny and his store that's going to be opening soon. TM, if you're in the Northeast area. Rogue State Gaming is finally here. Should be a couple of weeks and there'll be an opening. So that'll be exciting.
Now that I'll play games in person again, and all the world will be worse off for it as our win rates all plummet as Anthony comes out with a new faction that nobody was expecting.
Yeah, death and murder from the Drukari. We get buffed in January and then they're awesome. Hope.
Cope.
Big cope. They're just going to get the Death Guard treatment. They're going to make it so when you use a pain token in the charge phase, it lets you advance and charge. And
Nobody needs that, Anthony.
Let's go!
Why are you doing this to us all?
Yeah, devastating wounds on grotesques and incubi. Let's just fuck it. Send it.
Pain tokens give you rerolls, hits, and wounds, not just reroll wounds.
That'll do. Yeah, I'll take that. That'll also work.
Just completely ruin everything. Scary wins every tournament in the planet for the next 6 months.
At least in the north area, yeah. At least unless we play, because I clearly will take down the original Archon.
I don't know. Did he not win a Titan tournament with a Revenant Titan this weekend?
Yeah, he's a fucking hero. He's so much better than me. I'm definitely joking. He's old. He may be the older Archon, but he's well kept by the homunculi.
I mean, you look more like one, but
yeah, for sure. I got the height. I don't know. Dark Eldar are pretty tall. I think Skari actually looks more like a Drukari than I do.
Okay, this is a weird conversation.
Anyway, yeah.
As for myself, I was at a tournament this weekend with the rest of the Alpine Cup team except Anthony. So we replaced Anthony with Chris Irvine from Team Scotland.
I just want to point out that much like Stat Check, this was not done because I was invited and said no. I just was assumed I wouldn't want to do it and then replaced.
It was more that I had a team of 3 and the polls offered to come than specifically excluded you. But I did feel like your holiday situation maybe wouldn't allow it.
It's all good. No big deal.
We're just trying to keep Anthony's ego in check by not inviting him to things, so he feels like he has to work a little bit harder. It's just like the 40k tournament player equivalent of negging. We just want him to work really hard at Eurotrash.
It's so fucked up, honestly. Like
you I wouldn't say you love it. That's probably harsh, but you tolerate it.
No, I certainly don't.
Yeah, it's fine. It's all good. So yeah, myself, Typhus, Myson, Brian, and Chris Irvine went to a team tournament. We originally had grand designs of playing a bunch of Titans and stuff, and then Brian sold his. And then Typhus was like, "I'm going to play my sisters because I've been getting the paint for ages." And then it turned out sisters are really good right now, so we just like messed that up. Myson was like, "I don't have any other armies," and submitted GSC. Brian's like, "Oh, I'll just play orcs," and we're like, "Okay, cool." So I ended up on 4 Norns, and everybody else had medalists. So I feel like little hard done by the rest of my team was just like, we're just gonna try hard. Don't worry about it. Like exactly what happened at Alpine Cup, except I was stuck holding 4 Norns. It was great. So we'll go through a little bit more about that
Yeah,
after
yeah.
like the introductory section is this. We don't have any stats this week. Let's just talk about my team event. That's probably the easier place to do it. So it was a team event in Scotland. It had 8 teams of 5. We've not done 5-man teams in Scotland before, which was really cool. Managed to get a bunch of new teams over that. So yeah, we had Sisters of Battle, which is a kind of traditional Vol Paragons, Exorcists, all that kind of good stuff list with like 30 Arcoflagellants that gives other players nightmares. We had Myson on like the standard Horde GSE list with the truck with the like the meta technology of the truck with the respawning grenades and all that kind of stuff that WC lets you do now. It does help that army out a bunch. We had Brian on his sort of kind of weird Mega Nobsy build they definitely came out of basically nowhere at Leicester and was like, oh yeah, what if these units were just really good and Brian's really good at activations? Who'd have thought just pulling completely new archetypes out of hats seems to be the weird faction specialist's job right now. It's just like, what if we just tried data sheets that are good in transports? And then that's worked for like 4 factions now, and it's starting to be a bit worrying, and maybe transports are broken. Um,
Look, we gotta just, we have to keep the game functional somehow, and boxes do the job that we need them to do, which is an important
boxes load up and
segue for
indirect.
later. Yeah.
Yeah, boxes, loan up, and indirect. The three pillars of the meta game. Isn't it wonderful? You can smile at that. I mean, it's okay.
It's something. It's keeping the meta present. We're still
Chaotic.
playing. Yeah. Chaotic. It's funny because all the chaos factions are good, except for demons, who are great allies.
Yeah. We had Chris, who was on my WCW Atlanta list with the planes and the ball predators, and then we had myself on 4 Norn emissaries. A Norn emissary and 3 Norn assimilators, which are not great as it turns out. They performed pretty well at the event, but it was more in spite of having 4 of them than because I had 4 of them. It turns out Nids are just pretty good at scoring points, and OC15 is a nice stat to have.
Yeah.
But if they had been cheap enough to put units in the list, it'd have been great. So yeah, we ended up we played through 5 rounds. Our first round was against basically every team we played against except one had like a current or like a few current or past Team Scotland members on it, which was super cool.
Nice.
I'll just run through a couple of the highlights. I'll run through my games and sort of like the highlights of the round. The first round was against good swear word and Tim. Which I'm not going to say the swear word because the Americans will be offended by that one. Definitely, it's not offensive in Scotland, I promise. I played against the eponymous Tim, who was playing a very strange Vanguard Space Marines list, and it basically came down to we were playing supply drop, and I went Norn, and Norn on the 4 middle objectives. Went first, pushed a Norn onto every objective, and then the middle that I'd put 2 Norns on ended up being the one that was sticking around, which was pretty good for giving him a 0 primary.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one was a nice little 20 mil. It was really rough. Myson with his GSE played against 30 Wraithguard that game, and I'm pretty sure made it concede on turn 3 for
Nice.
20 mil. Yeah, just killed everything that wasn't a Wraithguard. It's pretty fun. And yeah, only one of them can Phantasm, so the other two get Boombud.
Yep.
It's not the great place where you want to be that round. The second round, we played into Saltar Games, who was very unfortunate in that we had 3 teams on a win and 2 teams on a draw, and they got the pair up into us, which is a rough place to be.
Yeah.
They scored more points than the previous team, though, which was good because the previous team scored 10.
That's cool.
Out of a game. So yeah, shout out to AJ though, who is their Death Guard player who played Brian. Brian said he was the best player he played against and took a whole point off him.
Nice. Good
Yeah,
job.
it was really cool actually. It was super good to see AJ. He's a player I've been working with a bunch locally and is super enthusiastic and obviously works with us and all the Etsy stuff and that. So it's good to see him growing and Brian giving him some recognition. What did I play that round? I played into another Space Marine list. I played against more Whirlwinds, and this was Killmore. I didn't kill a unit till like turn 3, and I was starting to feel a little bit sketched out. So I'm like, I don't have any guns longer than 18 inch range. I'm just like, I got a Norn and a Dream, and then like Aggressors and Blade Guard come out and like lethal hit 2 of them to death, and I'm like, I can't actually do anything. And then I remember that I had like 1 left, and just like it was a Marine army, so I just killed everything that wasn't the Whirlwinds. Eventually, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So they're not just looking at 20 points anymore. Right? It's fine.
We're getting there.
Yeah. And then he had a really unfortunate shadow in the warp turn where he failed with all 3 units on his home objective and scored a
Oh
0 point turn and kill one
no.
Killmore. Because he just had to fire all three whirlwinds into a Norn on a 2-up save because he really needed it dead and it just didn't die. It was like, oh, unfortunate. This is one of those games where you just you look at the Norns and you're like, I don't understand how this can be the most resilient unit and then die just immediately for no reason. Because you're just like, you're getting shot and you're getting shot and you're getting shot, and then like 1 hunter killer wound goes through and suddenly you're at 3 and you're like, hold on a minute. I don't
Yeah.
like
Ah,
that.
ah.
It's like you felt like 1 3 up above average and your unit's just like gone now. It gets shot, it's just like, I don't like this. And you're
Yeah.
or like the very, very real sense of measuring if anything is within 4 of an objective so that you can kill it and consolidate back onto your objective. And it's like, I really can't leave this or I just die.
I'm just dead. Yep.
So yeah, very, very interesting one there. I won that one 16-4. The third round we played into Shire Knights, which was basically Team Scotland. There's 5 of the current Team Scotland players. Some highlights from this game include our Eldar player playing into Myson and not having a great time. That was Myson's third 20-0 to Eldar on the day.
Okay.
Yeah, we basically went to the tournament. We're like, are there more 20-0s or more Eldar players? And there was more 20-0s. And our World Eaters player having a very, very bad time into Sisters. He basically went full send, and at the end of Typhus's turn 1, the only units that were able to move on the board for the World Eaters were Angron, who was at about half, and a squad of Jackals. Everything else was dead, or a Rhino that was completely surrounded and unable to move or disembark. And
Yeah, that's a rough day in the fucking office, I'd say.
yeah, don't full send his sisters without a backup plan. Seems to be the running theme from that one. I
Well,
played into Matty and his sisters in that game, where we had this. This was the game where the hunter killers were just like driving me nuts. I failed both the 3-ups against it and got a Norn down to like 4 wounds, and then 2 squads of Arcoflagellants killed it to the wound, and the Norn passed 2 feel no pains out of 18 on the way down. I'm just like, please just stop it.
just any amount, please.
Any amount better than none.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is also the one where I most felt like the lack of involve in the emissary because like that Meta squad popping out of a transport next to the Triumph just going, that'll be 3 at AP4, D6 plus 2 damage on all of them, and your Norn just dies, and you're like,
Okay.
or like you fail 3 5-ups because you armor contempted or whatever. And it's like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. That one mostly came down to just miracle, like the really low volume of shot count on the emissaries in the assimilator. Like they only have 2 relevant shots, so the miracle dice generation of a Sisters army is able to keep up with that pretty well. So you kind of need to get into combat, and there's so much garbage in the Sisters list to punch through that it just kind of ended up being awkward. We also played Scorched Earth, which is the Scorched Earth and Table Quarters mission, which if anybody's played Tyranids knows is a really, really tough mission to score secondaries as Tyranids, because with the way the Table Quarters are, with that being your deployment zone, it's very, very difficult to get a spore mine or even a unit into there to do deploy teleport homers or behind the lines or anything like that. So you kind of get pressured into playing tactical in that kind of mission, which opens you up to having like a bad draw and a bad turn. And also, I swear, every single opponent I played against that took tactical drew bring it down on the turn. They killed 2 Norns, and I'm just like, happened like 4 times over the weekend. I'm just like, please
Strong.
stop. Please stop drawing it on the exact turn you kill 2 Norns. Because it's usually like 2 of them die and then one of them dies on like turn 4 and the other one lives to the end of the game. And it's like, but every time on turn 2 or 3, 2 of them die. And every single one of those, my opponent bring it down. Just like, this 8 points that I didn't need to give you.
Yeah, I was hopeful that this would be no points and you would just be dead or not draw this at the right time, and instead it is a fucking bunch.
So yeah, that was a really cool round. We ended up winning that one pretty comfortably as well. It turns out that when you 20-0 the Eldar and the World Eaters played by the 2 best players on the other team, it goes pretty well for you as a general rule of thumb.
Yeah, just like safe bet.
Yeah. Around 4, we played into a team that unfortunately had a drop, so they were playing with 4 players, so I took the bye for this round. It would have been Chaos Space Marines, which would have been super interesting. But the other games this round were we had Typhus' sisters playing into Eldar, which ended up in like a fairly small win, just Arcoflagella's being a pain in the ass for them to deal with, but Fuegan popping off and just, claiming a flank in Vital Ground. Fairly generally low scoring mission in general. Mycen got 11-9 into Necrons. Chris got a small win into something that I don't remember. I think he got I completely forget, unfortunately. Sorry, Chris. I don't even remember what he played against this round. I spent most of this round walking around and looking at the rest of the event, not my team, because, well, my team was just doing its stuff.
Yeah.
And then
Not
Brian played into the Space Wolves list that was doing exactly what Brian's list was doing, just jamming 18 Thunderwolves directly forward and saying, deal with this. And then Brian did that with Orcs, but went first to put Mega Knobs other places, and the Thunderwolves had to come forward, and then just got tabled. Very, very rough. If anyone wants to see the list for this, yeah, someone's just shouting in the chat. It is Clan Wars Team Series on Best Coast Pairings, if anybody wants to go and have a look for it. Otherwise, drop a message into the StatCheck Discord if you're in there, and we can definitely point you in the right direction if you don't have a PCP subscription or whatever. Well, I really want to figure out what Chris played against. I've completely forgotten. Oh, he played against Ricky and who's one of our teammates and his Thousand Sons. And had one of those classic that plain list builds where it comes in and it should do all the damage and it doesn't, and it holds on by its fingertips for a 10-10. It's like, you know what? That's fine. It's like
good
high roll or 10-10.
enough.
That works.
Yeah.
That's fine. Magus just sitting on an objective, getting it taken off him for Storm Hostile by 2 whirlwinds, like classic stuff. OC6, cool. OC6 plus a Tech Marine.
Good enough.
All you need. One more than 0. And then the last round, we played against the other Shire Knights team, so the other Falcon Club, which was captained by one of the new members of our team, Bruce. And this actually ended up being a much more interesting round. They had a really rough matrix for us in general. So they had like the standard Chaos Space Marines list. They had a really cool like double Norn, triple Horror Specs Nids list that I ended up pairing into. They had the like sort of fairly standard Death Guard list that nobody on the team wanted to play against. And then they had like guard, like all the indirect guard. Like triple Arshik or triple Medusa, triple Manicore, just general pain in the ass things to deal with.
Yep.
And then I forget what Brian played into this round, but it'll come back to me. But yeah, broad strokes on this one was I played the Nid Mirror, so there were 6 Norns on the table, which was really cool. This one was the first time I got to deep strike I got to put a simulator into reserves, which. So, if anybody doesn't know about the Synaptic Nexus attachment, it has basically doctrines. It gets 1 turn of +1 to advance and charge, and when a simulator shoots something, it gets +2 to charge it if it's a vehicle or monster. So it can come in from reserve and get a 6-inch charge, or it can ingress and go real far. So in this game, it ingressed, went forward, punched a Horror Specs, contested the objective off an emissary, stood there, got shot and charged by the emissary, and killed it. It's like, okay, so this is where simulators are good, is the mirror match. Keep that in mind. That's very important for any of your future Norn endeavors, is that emissaries are better than assimilators, but assimilators beat emissaries to death with their bare hands. Strength 9 versus strength 12 is not a comparison when you're toughness 11. And the lack of armor save doesn't matter so much, or the lack of invulnerable save doesn't matter so much when you can armor contempt for a 3 up against them.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have enough that who gives a shit.
Yeah, for sure. The simulators actually were like generally pretty fun the whole weekend. I really enjoyed playing them. I could definitely see like if I was going to play like a more serious version of this, I was playing like one of each. Like the emissary is pretty good at like holding down the objectives and generally lives a little bit longer, but the assimilator is really good at reserve and good at chasing things down. So I'm definitely going to have a more experimentation with that. Especially if you're playing Nexus, where you have like having 2 of them, it's a lot easier to manage the armor attempt from the detachment plus for 1 CP plus the free shot in the hive turn. Having 4 of them, it gets a little awkward if somebody can like kill them because they start split firing and it gets messy. Plus, you kind of run out of objectives to put them on, which feels weird, but you're like, I'm just going to put this one on my opponent's home objective because it's funny.
Maybe it gets there and okay.
No, you would never do that. You double up on the middle, but it's still like a thing you can think about if your opponent doesn't, like, you're playing against like Ironstorm or something like that. It might actually be valuable because they're pretty bad at screening their deployment zone. The rest of that round, Typhus played a pretty close game in with the Chaos Space Marines. I think it was like a small win. But that's a matchup that the Chaos Space Marines have to play very carefully to like have the advantage in. Chris lost to the Death Guard list, which is a tough game in general. What did Brian play that Myson 20 0 the guard, and that was basically the round. And I 20 0 the Harspexes. Harspexes is not very good at killing Norns.
They're not great at it.
But yeah, overall, really, really cool event. It was awesome to see a bunch of new faces out from Scotland, and like the entirety of the like Team Scotland plus our 5 starters plus our 5 prospects were there, plus like a few of the people that were probably tapping for coach. So it was really awesome to just like get the team into a room and have a chance to like see everybody play and wander around and play it. So yeah, that was my event. Very quickly, I'll talk about like thoughts on Norns for anybody for like kind of going forward. If you want to play with Norns, they are not that bad. They are not going to make your list amazing, but kind of the thinking behind playing 4 of them was that I really wanted to stress test like how the data sheet is and like what you can do with it. And the best way to do that is to play too much of it, because it gets you the chance to see like what its fail cases are, what its success rates are, like where it's good, where it's bad, like how does it do it, filling a gap that when you have to make a unit do something there's something to do, how good is it at doing that and all that kind of thing. And actually, I think in general for that, it was fairly successful. Like I'm definitely at the point where if I was going to play 2 Norns, I probably would have said I would play two emissaries for a while if I was thinking about it. And I think now I would play one of each.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I really liked the extra reach on it. Like being strength 12 with damage DC +1 is a really, really big help in the Tyranid army. Like there's a lot of stuff that can match the emissary strength 9. Like Exocrines and
Like
Maliceptors
like fucking everything.
Yeah, Exocrines, Maliceptors, and Hive Tyrants all kind of sit around that general like diversity of profile. Whereas the Simulator very much does something unique. It's definitely not cheap. Like 310 points is a lot, and I definitely think you could stand to go down a bit in the data slate. But it's kind of like close enough that I think you could justify it. I also like use it as a chance to test out Synaptic Nexus. Grenade stratting people, like no scoping units over walls with grenade strat is really funny. With the 12-inch if you fill a battle
Yeah,
shock
it
on
sure
Synapse.
is.
Yeah, my perturbed opponent in the last round battle shocked I killed all his Synapse on turn 4. Every unit in his army except one sort of 3 gargoyles and come up with an assimilator battle shocked. And I killed and he had cleanse and engage on all fronts, which meant he couldn't score either of them except with his Biovore, because it could generate Spore Mine, but his Biovore battle shocked, so I grenade stratted it and did 5 mortal wounds to it on his home objective. It's just like, no.
Yeah, actually,
denied him the opportunity. I was just like, oh, that's disrespectful, but it was very funny. Killing a Venom with it was another highlight, but that was in a practice game.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you take what you can get, right?
Yeah, so it was super interesting. I really quite liked it, but I don't know. I really missed Invasion Fleet. I really like having a Film of Pain stratagem on command. I don't know why. And it feels like every turn the unit doesn't do any damage if it doesn't have lethal hits or sustained hits into the right target.
Yeah,
I know they do, but
I think that Nexus is better. But I get the desire to play Invasion. I think a lot of the Tyranid guns explode when they can't fall back and do stuff, is my like experience.
That is true, but I mean, I think you can maybe get away with that by leaning a little harder away from the need to play that. Like emissaries and assimilators don't super need to be, but the armored attempt is a big game, right? So yeah. I think it depends on what direction you want to go. I really like the old One Eye package is pretty strong right now as well. I think, which obviously only works at Invasion Fleet, like that is garbage outside of it. So
yeah.
The main reason for that, for anybody who doesn't know, is the Film of Pain from Invasion Fleet is great, and non-synapse creatures can't use the armor contempt stratagem. Which means Old One Eye squad not being Synapse struggles with that.
Can you give them Synapse with the stupid?
No, they are treated as being in your army's Synapse range. They do not gain Synapse. Yeah,
got it.
Neurotyrants are really good as well. -1. Most armies don't appreciate -1 leadership, except Sisters, who have like 2 auras of +1 leadership. Fuck them. That's what Exorcists just do. They just have an aura of +1 leadership. It's really obnoxious for exactly that situation.
They're playing the pipes, dude. Freaking.
Actually, it's better than them having a relevant role. I was also very surprised about it. They don't have blast. Did not expect that.
What? Really?
Yeah, you have a visitor.
I do. Hello. I'm in the middle of recording a podcast. What's up?
We'll give Anthony a minute.
Sorry.
Okay, goodbye. Part of the fun.
Part of the fun. So yeah, that's kind of brief thoughts of Terrors. I'm actually super enjoying playing a bunch of Terrors right now. They don't feel like the strongest thing I could be playing, but I've played so much Space Marines recently and so much CSM before that it's nice to play a profile that isn't past 3 up saves or die. It's nice to be like 2 up save, toughness 11, but also good in melee, as opposed to like a Redemptor, which I hate. I hate playing Redemptors.
It's the same thing.
No, Redemptors are boring. Redemptors don't do anything. That's the problem.
Neither do Norns.
No, that's not true. Norns slap exactly into Space Marines. Watching a Norn pick up a full squad of Blade Guard, and I was very impressed with it.
Is that even close to the usual output of that thing? Okay.
I mean, like, he failed. I did one that, like, I killed one in shooting, and then I put 10 AP2 saves on it, all of which were multi-damage.
Oh, all right. I guess.
You just do, like, the real ones to hit and wound, and you're like, all hit, all wound.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah, I guess. Does he hit on 2s? No, he hits on 3s, right?
No, they're not hits on 2s.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
It's got everything but the character keyword.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Norns hit real hard.
I'm just so used to people being like, they're bad, that I'm like, maybe they're bad.
They are not. I think that's kind of where I ended up. They're not bad. They're just expensive, which is a much more interesting place to be because you can fix expensive with points changes. You can't really fix a bad data sheet other than by making it really cheap. They do the stuff they're meant to do. You don't get enough stuff to support playing the list.
Yeah. I think they should just drop Norns like 30 points. Just let Tyranid have something that balls.
You could drop the emissary like there. I think this one could probably stand it out a little bit more, given that it's 20 points more expensive and worse.
Yeah, drop that one 50 points. Fuck it.
Yeah,
ship it.
It's still tough to compare to, like, you can get a horror specs and an X screen for the same points, but they at least do some interesting stuff.
God, that's fucking dire. But yeah,
I know, right? The horror specs is a 125 point data sheet that's toughness 11 with a 3-up save and 14 wounds. That's pretty good in combat, and it's unplayable garbage.
Well, because his movement's bad, right? That's the
It's
idea.
like movement 8.
Oh boy.
Yeah. If that Feel No Pain strategy when the Assimilation Swarm wasn't 2 CP, I think for Feel No Pain if you're on an objective for horror specs is pretty cool, but it's 2 CP and not a battle tactic, so it's just like, you're never using that.
Oh my god.
I know, right?
Yeah. Tyranids make me upset. I want to believe they should just be like the Godzilla faction, and instead they're just like lame.
It definitely felt like the Godzilla faction. Like we were fighting over Tokyo in game 5, man.
Oh yeah, sure.
There were 6 Norns and 3 horror specs and an X screen on that board. It was kaiju monster mash. It was great. It was like playing Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Like playing them into like middle factions felt fine, like into Marines and into Sisters and all that kind of thing. Like there were limitations to them, but they were cool. I enjoyed playing with them.
Yeah,
which is more than I can say for Jormungandr for last year's experiment.
Teams where you could take abject garbage and just let the rest carry you, and you could be like, all right, we won anyway, whatever, it doesn't even matter.
Exactly. So yeah, 3-0-1 for me personally, 4 if you include the bye, which I'm not because that's boring. Yeah, it was cool. I'll play 2 Norns in the future. It was interesting.
Cool.
Right. I'm going to open this box, and I'm going to tell the story of the box.
Tell them. Okay. I'm going to get up and close this door so that doesn't happen again. I'll be right back. You tell the story of the box.
As I understand it, and it's not a very good story for the House of the Wise and the Wares, but Red Dragon, our sponsor Dan, had the X&1 podcast spin a wheel for a host to receive some stuff. And I don't know what the stuff is, but my name popped out of that wheel, and so I received a box about a week ago, and I was told I'm not allowed to not open it on stream. Now, in the past, I'm pretty sure Cliff's received some weird stuff. I don't actually know what Cliff received. I don't think he ever told us, but Nathan got like a Baneblade, and he doesn't play guard. So I'm a little worried, a little skeptical. This box weighs about 3 kilos, 6 pounds for any US listeners. It's huge. It's the size of my dog. My dog is not small. It's been in my house for a week, and I've not been allowed to open it, which is upsetting because I am like a child on Christmas, and I am very, very, very curious what's in it. And honestly, I think at this point I've talked about it so much that so are my family, and they're kind of like getting worried about it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to open this massive box, and I'm going to do it as close to on camera as I can. But I'm pretty sure my address is on it, so I'm going to be a little careful because as much as I love our fans, I don't love them that much. So let's have a go. I'm gonna like show off the box like a tiny amount, trying to hide the address. Just to.
Do you not have a pen near you that you could just Blot the address.
It's a big ass box,
Okay. That is a big ass box.
right?
Oh man, chat. I do hope it's just maple syrup. That would be fucking hysterical.
All right, just in case I have scribbled out the address. That should be fine.
Good job.
Okay.
Great work.
Right. Predictions?
Way too many models. It's just I hope it's just a
I can hear bases, so
yeah. Come on, chat. What do you think? Please be Tau. Oh, that would be fucking brutal.
So like I know it's not going to be something that I would want, right? That's the
Just a bunch of the bad terrain kits. That would be also funny.
that would be quite funny. I don't think it's going to be that. Dan spent way too much money sending this over. So
AOS Endless Spells is good. Eldar, just a full Eldar army. That would also be funny. 12 Hammerfall bunkers is pretty good.
see, now the problem is that this is just giving Dan ideas for the next one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Which
oh,
I'm hoping goes to you or...
What would be really funny is if it was the frontline table that you had to play on in LVO.
All right, let's do this.
Let's see it. 50 boxes of Poxwalkers. I'm also here for that. That would be funny.
It's going to definitely obscure the mic and all that stuff, so it's going to have to sit on my lap, not on the desk.
All right, let's see it.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
He's already mad? That's a good start.
Well, someone was right.
What is it? Oh no! It's in hot arc. It's and Harlequin troop and warlocks. This is it. This is how Innes starts Eldar. A Hemlock Wraith Fighter. What is that? I can't even see. That's a Wave Serpent. Wave Serpent. Nice. He dropped that one. He was like, fuck you.
I'm dropping a lot of this.
Yeah.
Dice are nice. They have Eldar symbols on them, but...
Yeah.
It gets better.
It gets better. What's this? Dark
Reapers? The models we're just going through now. Like I'm just showing people what Dan sent me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been diagnosed with Eldar player, unfortunately.
Yep. Shroud Hunters.
Okay. Now there are two other boxes inside the box that are both labeled with a one-letter word.
What is it?
And then 2x36 by 54G on them. Which, if anybody knows, will be like an inventory weight measurement. Which is to say, there's 72 Butterfingers in this box.
Oh, nice.
And then there's another one of those. So Dan is also trying to kill me.
Yeah, he's an enabler, an Eldar enabler. Well, now you get to join the wanted ranks of WTC God King Eternal captains that play Eldar.
I mean, I'm glad that my phrasing is at least...
Welcome, Innes. You're an Eldar player now. Turn your head so we can see the point in the ears. Nailed it.
Oh, no, sorry. It's meant to be just a middle finger.
Yeah, you tried.
I need to bring the Butterfingers to the shop. Apparently, you give me a bunch of Eldar boxes, I'll bring up a box of Butterfingers.
He'll trade you.
72 Butterfingers for Ken Wraithguard or Yunkarn.
Well, you're actually
not a good trade.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how much you like Butterfingers.
For fuck's sake.
You're an Eldar player now. Everybody got to watch you become one live on stream. That was beautiful. It even brought the self-hatred.
Dan, why? This is your fault, Anthony.
My fault?
Yeah.
What
Dan's
did
just
I
said-
do? Oh.
Just
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I'll take that. That can be my fault. You did lose your Eldar player to us. Just so we could pair him into mirrors and make him sad.
oh, well, as long as you're doing that, I don't mind.
Yeah. Can't believe you're bringing Eldar to LVO. Oh
Well,
man.
I mean, the Elder Army might show up at LVO. I won't be attached to it, but
Yeah.
so thank you to Red Dragon for sending us a
A life-changing box
box
for Innes.
stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, we're going to be doing a stat check giveaway next episode. So
Giving away some Butterfingers?
no, have you seen the size of me? I'd eat them all.
Oh. You're gonna go through a box just from the sadness of becoming an Eldar player live on
I feel
camera.
like I should eat one live on stream, but I really don't want to open a box of 72 Butterfingers. It's too many Butterfingers.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a fair amount.
It's 700. It's like almost a kilogram of Butterfingers.
Yeah. What's your paint scheme plan for the Eldar?
Oh yeah, so I was thinking of just dousing them in like red paint and just being like, "This is the blood of everyone that you've." I don't know. Eat the elves, assemble the Butterfingers. I think I could use 2 Butterfingers with like half Butterfinger arms as Transcendent Catan.
Yeah, something like that. I would believe that. Well, you waited
I did
nearly a week
nearly a week for
just to find out you
some-
play Eldar now.
I'm glad someone appreciated that I was just chucking the boxes on the floor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how you handle things.
That's how everyone should handle it. They'll phantasm. They'll be fine.
Yeah. And this
Well,
is not
just-
known for his grace and dexterity.
That's very true. With that, then I'm told I get to spin a wheel, but I don't have a wheel prepared, and I'm not preparing a wheel. So
I mean, that's so easy to set up just on the internet. You could have.
I know, but then I have to like stream it and stuff. Okay, Anthony, entertain the masses.
Oh man, entertain the masses. I have cat. How's that? Here we go. Pick up the camera.
Talk about Warhammer Muppet.
Yeah, but there's a cat. That's way more interesting than Warhammer. Come on. I don't really have anything interesting right now. We have some team scrims going that are kind of cool. We are scrimming against XPZ as Team USA, which is cool. It'll be like the first time that we scrim just a group that's not an like another national team. If you're a USA club and you have 8 and you're interested, reach out to me specifically and let me know, and I will try and get some time in a calendar for 8 people to play 8 people. If you guys are at the level and interested and into it. Oh, well, I got a whole bunch of questions at the same time. That was sick. Good job, chat. Give me something to talk about. What are my hopes for the World Leader Codex? I don't really have any like specific things that I'm looking for. Some new models would be cool, but like I don't want them to like make Jugger Cav and have that take away from like the power budget of 8-bound, because I like 8-bound like a lot, and I really want them to be really good. So I don't want the stupid can't run through walls units to take away from that. What's the plan with Flesh Eater Courts? The plan is to play 18 Horrors and Assuran and train people, just like absolutely big boy time them into the ground. You're assembling world leaders. Alex, good job. Excellent work, Mr. Taos. Ashley said, what faction would your cat play? My cat is thick and lazy, so probably Custodes. And yeah, Blood Slaughters and World Leaders would be pretty hype. I mean, like, that unit's really cool. I would like to have like a vehicle that isn't a Rhino, but like, I don't know, I'm here with my infantry boys. We're doing pretty good. Hopefully they like, if you read the World Leaders like 9th book, there's like a lore section that clearly lays out like where they go over like 6 broken off parts of the Legion. So it really looks like they're alluding to what the 6 detachments could be, and they all have like distinct things they do, but who knows? Hopefully we get one for like Karn and his lads, and we get some like AP on Corn Berserkers or something. That'd be cool. Oh boy. Oh god. My name's on this. I hate that.
Your name's not just on this, buddy. Your name's on this in between everybody else's names. You're the free space.
Oh no!
You didn't say I had to spin a fair wheel, and I've decided that you should be diagnosed with something you don't like.
Well, away we go. It's
The
not even gonna
power
land
of
on
the
me. It's gonna hit
pause.
Nathan. Oh, stop!
No!
Stop! Yes! Let's go! Sorry, Jeremy. Jeremy, you're next.
Do you know what? After the price Dan paid for that one, I'm kind of okay giving
Yeah,
him
that's
a break.
okay.
He can
Yeah.
hand deliver this one.
Whew. Whew.
Oh, well, you escaped this time, Vanilla.
Yes. Yeah. Safe. Easy.
Empty boxes of rhinos full of 8-pound sprays.
That would be pretty funny.
Jeremy's gonna get Death Guard. Jeremy's not gonna get Death Guard. Jeremy's gonna get something.
He's gonna get a Chaos faction because he plays Dark Angels. I hope he gets
I wonder
demons.
if Dan could find any of the old boxes of Fallen, which were just the Dark Angels Company Veterans Brew in different packaging.
Just a ton of them.
I mean, Dan, you could drive to my house too if you weren't a coward, but
I don't think that's how that works, sir.
there's ferries. It's technically driving.
Ferries?
Like, you drive a car onto a ship, it's possible.
I guess.
Give Jeremy Eldar 2.
Yeah, Dan's just offloading the Eldar at an insane rate.
Just gonna give Dan Wraithguard the day after the balance data slate.
Ah, sad.
Sword and Board Wraith Knights from the used shop.
That would be sick.
Now we don't tell Jeremy that he won or what he won. Yeah, let's just not tell Jeremy anything. He doesn't edit the episode or anything, I'm sure.
I was gonna say he's gonna know. Maybe not. We'll see soon.
Look, the main thing is we should do the plugs, and then we can do short questions.
Yeah, you should do that.
I know, but I'm so bad at it.
Yeah, that's why it's fun. Get after it, soldier.
Okay. Hey everybody, and thank you for being with us for Stat Check episode 72. This is a bit more of a casual episode as we are missing the stats people, which is, half of Stat Check. But we hope you're enjoying the show so far as we go through the various stages of grief and Anthony goes through the various stages of joy, because I think Anthony's having a great time right now. If you enjoy what we're doing and you'd like to hear more of it for whatever godforsaken reason that you enjoy listening to this, there are many. Many of them are due to the quality. Some of them are due to the suffering. And honestly, we're not judging you. Whichever one of those you prefer, we understand. They're both quite funny. Please do check us out at youtube.com/statcheck, where you can see all the back episodes as well as all the extra shows that we do, like X and 1 and End of the Matrix. They are both wonderful, wonderful shows. I think End of the Matrix remains the single best 40k content that is created by anyone anywhere, and you should definitely go and check it out. And X and the 1 is also wonderful if you're anybody playing 40k that doesn't have the opportunities to push all your time into this, but wants to find out how to spend it the most optimally. It's great for that. And then obviously End of the Matrix is doing a ton of team coverage. I'm expecting that they'll do a bit more of a coverage from Clan Wars, given that Typhus was there, but we'll see what happens. I don't know what their schedule looks like for the next few weeks. I know this week's an X and 1 week because Tim and Cliff and Typhus both separately missed the last week of their show each, so we're just back on regular schedule. You can also check out a bunch of our sponsors like Red Dragon, who send us wonderful things. You can even get better Eldar than this. If you want, for example, Wraithguard and Yinkarn, I'm sure Dan has them in stock. If you want to get the units that are probably going to be really broken after the balance data slate, like I'm assuming still somehow Fuegan and probably Warwalkers. I'm sure Dan has some of those in stock as well. If you're one of our patrons, which you can do at patreon.com/statcheck, you could even get a wonderful 20% discount on those, as well as access to even more of our lovely conversational skills and the Vibe Check League and all that kind of good stuff in Patreon. As for our other sponsors, check out Wayland Yutani at wayland-yutani.com. I want to say, please do check the ones in the show description. If you use code StatCheck5 at checkout, you can get WC Terrain and a bunch of other various things like that with a 5% discount code, and it also gives a bit of help to us. And let's issue know that you came from StatCheck. Also, check out Saltar Games on Etsy, where you can see a bunch of tokens and all that kind of stuff. The Deep Strike markers and things like that. We got Team Scotland one still up for the weekend. I'm sure if you get in touch, if you've got you want to do like a bigger order for a club or something like that, I'm sure Saltar Games can help you out, especially if you're in the UK. What else do I need to plug? Stat-check.com/coaching. If you're interested in getting help from either myself or Typhus in pushing your game to the next level or any level, please do get in touch. We would love to give you a hand in growing as a 40k player. Anthony, have I forgotten any plugs?
I don't think so.
You've listened to like 70 of these now, right? So
It's bold to assume I've listened to any of the individual times you've done this, other than just like zoning out into the void while you do them.
That's fair. It's basically what I do as well.
Yeah,
Um,
you just like it's like the
Chat,
capitalism
have I
tax of
missed
the
any
episode.
plugs? You guys will know better than I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, if chat mentions that I forgot any plugs, then I'll do them again. But yeah, that's the best I got. We probably also have other social media, but don't bother with that stuff. It's not great. We don't use it a ton. All right, we're going to do questions. If you are in the Patreon, please go to the show questions channel and find the thread for this week's episodes. If you post in the show questions channel on Discord, you will 100% get your question answered. If you do not, then we will do our best to get it from chat. If you chuck in a super chat, we will definitely get to it. But no promises otherwise, because time is limited and at some point humans sleep, I'm told. Well, what I'm actually going to go is go and read a bunch more of the new book that Doug put me onto. But
Damn it, Doug.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I've read like a book and a half in the past 2 days of like a web serial called The Wandering Inn, and it's like 12 million words long or something like that. So
Is it good,
I
or are you just fixated?
it's to very quickly hyperfixate. A little bit of that, a little bit of like it's got really cool world building, and I'm an absolute sucker for it. And that it's just like it's very, because it's really long and it's a web serial. It's got a lot of time to like live and breathe and just like slice of life it a little bit in a really cool, interesting fantasy world. So
Yeah.
it just kind of like sunk its hooks into me very quickly and was like, "Hey, here's all these secrets that you don't get to know about. Why don't you keep reading?" And then it's generally like pretty funny and like nice. So it's good, but it's not like, I don't know. I'm going to read all of it unless I really, really slow up on it. I have read Worm before, actually. It was really good. I tried reading Pact and I could not get into it. I have like pretty sure I got a PDF download of Worm and I tried to reread it, but I couldn't like be bothered. I kind of got like halfway through it. Worm is like a superheroes common. So yeah, we're going to jump into questions now before I just start a book podcast. That's what I need.
There you go. Just blast. Do it
Stat check book
solo and
podcast.
just
There we go.
just do it solo and just like info dump every episode. Just be like, bam, here's a whole bunch of info. See you next week, folks.
Yeah, we'll have book check going on a separate channel within 2
Book
weeks.
Let's go.
It's better than stat book. Just me telling you how much I read this week. So
Yeah,
I read 17.3% of this book. Yeah, we're not going to do that.
yeah.
All right. The first question was, how much does the box weigh? And the box weighed, as I said, 2.7, 2.8 kilograms, or about 6 pounds. It was a hefty, hefty book. A hefty box.
Strong.
Sam asks, what are some New Year's resolutions or goals for 2024? Go for it.
I am, fingers crossed, assuming I don't fumble the bag in this last like interview step, starting a new job. So I will be trying to learn new things as they relate to the cloud computing world. It's a big shift for like what I do, but assuming that all goes well, it'll be pretty cool. So doing well at that job, pushing Team USA hopefully to a dub this year, helping with the rest of leadership to do that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Smashing in 40K, keeping it, staying alive. That's it. Ennis?
I don't really do New Year's resolutions because I'm really bad at sticking to them, but I have just sort of like generally over the last month or so been working on doing a bit more reading and a bit more like taking care of myself. So basically just continuing with that. Alana was a bit of a like, you need to take better care of yourself for me. So been putting a little bit on that. In terms of like partly, like being a little, carrying a little more weight than I would like to,
Yep.
not being like doing too many tournaments back to back and like not giving myself appropriate break between them, things like that. Just taking a little bit bit more time to do better on that for myself, and also getting back to reading more because I spend a lot of time watching garbage YouTube videos that I really shouldn't, and getting into reading a bit more consistently. So I'm trying to do like a little bit of exercise every day, a little bit more reading every day, eat a little bit better, just standard stuff like that. But it's not really a New Year's resolution. It's just something I've been a little bit doing for the past few weeks already. But it
Just
times
a
out with the
thing.
new year, so can't complain.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam also asks, when growing a local competitive scene, where's the balance between taking a super team and splitting the best players up to create equal competitive teams?
That's a tough one. I feel like just generally you shouldn't be super teaming it if your goal is growth. But if your goal is to win the tournament, then you should just fucking do that. Like, and just be honest about it. Don't be like, we're all gonna play like memes and then fuck about.
Yeah, no, I was a little upset about that too.
That wasn't even supposed to be
I
like a
know. I'm
direct
just like,
shot, but like
I get it, but yeah,
in
it's a
general,
little bit
like
true.
just be like, like if you want to win, that's cool, but like, you know, show some fucking vigor with it. Be like, yeah, I'm here to win. So we took the right shit to fucking win. I think that stuff's fine to do, but I think that a lot of times in the 40k space, and this applies to singles as well, people are a little like intellectually dishonest with themselves, so that if in case they lose, it's fine. And I think that the community in general would benefit more from people being like, "Hey, I'm like here to try to win because I want to do that because the winning
Actually,
is cool."
what about I don't. This is like complete sidetrack, but like kind of related to what you were just talking about there. So we'll come back to the rest of the question for Sam in a minute.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if anybody read the Goon or a lot of people read the Goonhammer player profiles on World Championships. Um, Basically, they did like they got a bunch of the top players from like the UK, the US, a few from other places for Sigmar and 40k, and were like, and got them to just kind of like put down what their goal was for the tournament. And I I think about 95% of people were like, "Oh, I'm just here to have fun and like try and do the best I can." And I put in mind like I'm here to try and win the tournament, right? And I and like Rob from Goodhammer, the guy that had like organized it, was like, I think you were like the only person that said that, and it was like kind of refreshing. So I think there's a very real degree of people wanting to be humble in this kind of space, but also that a lot of times I feel like it can come across a little bit disingenuous. Like you came to the tournament to try and win. You don't have to like hide it. And it's okay to want to try and win tournaments. And I think the team could benefit a lot from people being honest with that and just being like, hey, I'm here to try and win. I'm not here to fuck spiders, so to say, right? That's
Yeah.
the Aussie way. There's nothing wrong with like being humble about it, but it was interesting to see that there were so many people that going to the literal world championships that were like, yeah, just a little dude here to have some fun and show myself off.
Yeah, yeah, there was a I mean, like, that's just, like, very common in 40K, I find, is that, like, more than any other, like, competitive space I've been in, especially as it compares to fighting, but fighting is, like, too much in the other direction where, like, some, like, B-level dude with, like, a barely a winning record is like, "I'm gonna be world champ!" And you're like, "Alright, fucking wind it in." But, like, when it comes to 40K, it's really weird that, like, you know, like the dudes in like the 6-1 bracket are like, yeah, I'm just not very good. It's like, okay, like maybe relax.
Yeah. I mean, like, I tried to go like you try to hedge yourself a little bit. Like I'm here to try and win, but I'll be happy with like X and one in both sets, right? And I
Sure.
went a little
Yeah.
bit below that, and I was still fairly happy with what I did, right? But
Yeah.
I was there to try and win the tournament. I was under no illusions that it wasn't likely because it's not likely for anybody. There
Yeah.
were 170 players in that room. If you assume even roughly equal distribution, you're sub 1% to win any tournament that you go to that's got that level of caliber. But somebody's got to win it. Why can't it be you, right?
Yeah. I usually the way I approach it is not like at like a macro level. I think about like having set goals like that for events is like almost crazy. It's just like game to game, man. Just like one at a time. Play the game that's in front of you. I want to win every game that I play. That's honest. But like I don't necessarily care about winning every tournament I go to. I fucking want to. I mean, like case in point, this thing from Cali Cup is literally sat next to me on my desk. Like I'm very proud of that thing. But it's less about like I just think that it's funny that people are like, oh, I'm just a guy, I'm gonna have a couple beers and have a good time, and
You can do that and want to win the tournament. It's
yeah,
okay, guys.
both
Don't
are true.
Yeah. So to swing back to the question, I have a very real. This is before the question. What's the balance between taking a super team and splitting up the best players? One is that splitting up the best players relies on it just being local. So for a lot of events, if you're trying to like get people to come in from outside or anything like that, you don't have any control over that, right? So for us, for example, if we run an event in Scotland and like Team England decide to show up, they're not going to hedge their bets. They're going to bring their team, right? And we were like hoping to have Team Northern Ireland over and all that kind of thing. You want to put together your best foot to get the best opportunities you can. It also gives people a chance to see that. Also, all my friends are good competitive players. I don't spend a lot of time hanging out with my local community, and I wouldn't know who to ask, or wouldn't necessarily be able to do that. I asked my friends who were the other people that were really good. So there's a degree of like, yeah, split it up, but it's tough, right? There's never any clean answer in there. I think the bigger the event, the less it matters. But obviously for local things, if you're doing like a local like 4-person team event that there's 4 teams going to, you probably don't need to descend with Anthony, Naden, Jack, and John. But still funny. So
But you can.
yeah, and it's there's also the other side of things of it. It's interesting to you pull up a team like that and everybody plays a good game that you played against, right? Like if you're the team that's pulls them in the first round, yeah, you're probably going to get schooled, but everybody gets a chance. Nobody feels like they played against the dud player on a good team or anything like that, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. I don't think there's any one answer, and it's always to a degree, right? Like if every team agreed to do the same thing, but if you have uneven numbers of the top players, and you end up with like one team that's 3 and one team that's 2, and then it doesn't it gets messy, right? It gets messy quickly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Sam
that's fair.
then asks a third very interesting question of Anthony and Innes. It's been a while since you both started doing coaching. What are some of the biggest lessons learned, and how has your style and approach changed over time? Do you want to start with that
Uh,
one?
sure. Um, the biggest thing that I've learned is that honestly, most people just need like consistent reps against higher level opposition. So most of what I do at this point is like basically no coaching. Like going into a given event, we'll like go over like terrain and like some deployment steps in TTS. But usually what I'm doing at this point is being like, hey, like every other week or so, we're just gonna play a game on TTS from like the rip to the finish. And I'm gonna just like every small mistakes I see you make, we'll correct and we'll go over different play lines as we're going. And I find that that's just like infinitely better use of both like my and their time. Different people pick me up for coaching for different things. So like I've had people reach out to me for coaching for like, yeah, I want to structure a tournament season. How did you do yours? And that was like an interesting way of doing coaching. Because they were like, you had a very sharp come up, very quick, and I would like to be on Team USA eventually. And like, how do I do that? So there's like a couple of steps, like a couple of different, like it depends on what people are coming to you with coaching for. Um, and it's just like, who, what, why. But the biggest thing for me has been switching mostly to playing like full TTS games and going over the why of a given move rather than the what.
That's fair. For me, it's weird. I don't know if it's hard to be like there's a style to it because a lot of what I do is I do a lot of one-offs and I have a lot of recurring clients as well. And it kind of like it varies between them.
Oh,
A
there's a
lot of
huge difference between what those calls look like, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Like a lot
yeah,
of the one-offs tend to be like spend like the first half hour or so getting to the headspace of like what the person's looking for, spend the last half hour like workshopping like a way to push that and develop it.
yeah,
I think the biggest thing for me has been the same as Anthony's, like involving TTS as much as possible, where it will be useful for people, like going through deployments, talking about like trying to get people to like pull up past games and things like that. And doing like every client I've worked with that does game reviews has basically gotten a ton more out of it than anybody that doesn't. Like going through and actually like having the pictures and being able to go through and be like, hey, why did you make this decision here? Why did you make that decision there? Because as much as I can play a game with somebody, seeing what they're struggling with when they're playing against people of their level, when they're in their sort of like natural state, so on to say, does a ton for like helping to identify why and what kind of mistakes they're making in their because like it's all very well and good for me to play someone on TDS and be like, hey, this is the mistakes you made. But unless they're capable of taking it and like demonstrating it and doing it like consistently in the wild, so to speak, it's hard to see if they're actually doing that growth. And the clients that like very consistently go through those games and talk through them make a ton of progress. And that's been the biggest thing is trying to push people to do that. But some people just don't work well with that. Like they struggle to take the pictures or they struggle to do the look back. And you just like working around that limitation and trying to find other ways to do the same kind of thing has been really
right.
interesting. And I enjoy the challenge of that as well, which is yeah, because not everybody's good at remembering to take pictures, even if they've got the app, or they're not good at remembering the game. It's they don't have the same level of like recall for it or understanding of why they made the decisions they did. So you work around it, right?
Yep.
Cool, good question, Sam. Thank you. Um,
That Samboy's smart.
right, Logan asks, with some factions moving away from established groups like chapters, seps, etc., should tournaments go back to how? No, no. Uh, sorry, I'm
What
not asking
happened?
the rest of your question. No, Logan, that's not a.
Uh,
Should backstory be part of the battle ready points? Is the question he's asking.
oh God, no, no spray bottle, no.
And then Logan also asks, inspired by Innes and Norns, what models do you try to use even if it no longer has rules? Well,
That's
I
not
use
how I interact with the game.
if I have models that are appropriate for a role that do not have rules, I will use them. So like I use my Whirlwind Scorpius as a whirlwind because it's the same thing. But in general, it's more of like a I have them, why not use them, than a specific like desire to use them. I will in general like I have some like metal Space Marine characters. If I have like a metal version or Primaris version, I'll use the metal version because it's funnier. But that's about it. How many eggs you fit in that box? So many eggs, dude. You could fit more eggs in that box than I can fit bases in my mouth. 100%.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the best song with the word box in the title? I do not know basically any songs with box in the title. But let me just search my playlist and see if I have an answer. Anthony, do you have one ready to hand?
No, I do not. Let's go to my liked songs and search the word box and
I'm
see
going
what
to search all
happens.
of my playlists, and if I have anything that has the word box in it, then I will shout out that specific song. Thus far, we are struggling.
Oh, it's Life in a Box by Stick to Your Guns. Easy. That song's good.
I don't have one, guys. Sorry.
Yep.
Um,
Well, Spirit Box doesn't count. That's the name of the band, Sam.
yeah,
Focus.
because like, I mean, like Matchbox 20 is pretty solid, but I mean,
Let's not get carried away.
somebody said it in the chat, so I just shouted it.
Oh, okay.
They have one good song. I've only ever heard How Far We've Come, so.
Oh, Jukebox Hero is pretty good.
Yeah, struggling.
Next.
Okay. Adam asks, Matchbox 20 or Boxcar Racer? I don't know who Boxcar Racer are, so definitionally.
Yeah, same.
Boxes or briefs? Boxers.
It depends.
No, I'm big. Can't do briefs. Chafing.
Fair.
Box step or salsa? No
What?
strong preference. I don't know.
Let me.
Steven Box, question mark. Beat Brian. Land Raider's dope.
All right.
I don't know, man. It's Team USA tryout and lost to Steven Box. It's pretty good.
It's true.
Tips for travel friendly display board. You're asking the wrong people for display board
Yeah,
construction. And
unlucky. So close.
Ain't never done that. Ain't never gonna.
Yeah, just timed the week wrong.
When are we getting metadata box plots? We are.
I don't even know what
not.
that means.
Why must you guys hate Big Boy Time when Tim and Cliff love it?
What? How dare you?
Anthony, what's your relationship like with Big Boy Time?
It's really good, usually. It's just, sometimes it's not always good back to me. I try to Big Boy Time. It just, sometimes it sucks. That Talos build for Drukhari was as close to Big Boy Time in an elf faction as you could get.
I don't know. Yunkarn, you could do Yunkarn Avatar double Wraith Knight, right?
Sure. Yeah, but I wasn't playing Eldar then, so.
Yeah, that's right. I
So
really,
disappointed.
really, really love Big Boys conceptually, right? I put in my first ever tournament with Knights and Space Marines. My Be'lakor is one of my nicest painted models. I love all my big demons. I love the big nids. Like the Norns are super fun. Nothing in 40k stresses me out more than rolling a 4-up vulnerable save on a model with like 16 wounds. I hate it so much. Playing Be'lakor genuinely gives me like stress nightmares. I'm just like, I can't do this. I don't like this. Anytime like a model like that takes damage from a gun that's less than a las cannon, I like don't enjoy it. I'm just like not having a good time. If I take like 2 damage from a heavy bolter, I'm like freaking disrespectful.
Yeah.
I don't deal well with it. Getting grenade strat is like my nightmare right now. Like getting grenade strat on Be'lakor would genuinely like I might just jump.
I watched Be'lakor take 6 damage from a lethal hits heavy bolter and was like, nice, cool,
Yep.
love it.
So I generally like when I played Big Boy Knights, it was when they were immune to guns that were less than strength 7, right? Like that's when I came out with like big boys. You couldn't hurt them with a las gun. It wasn't possible. The fact that it's possible now, I don't enjoy. Like I haven't played Knights since 7th edition. I played them like very minorly in 8th edition because I kind of had to, because like the castle meta existed, but like that was about it. I like flirt with demons occasionally because they're fun, but they're a casual army. And like Norns was stressful. Like anytime my Norn gets shot and I have to roll a 2-up save on it, I'm just like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this.
Hilarious.
So I enjoy Big Boy Time existing. I'm glad that it can for the people who, but I'm constantly on edge that it's good and that I'll have to play it because it's the thing that stresses me out the most is rolling. Like, give me a 3-up save, I'll roll a 3-up save all day. Give me a 4 vulnerable save on a model that has to be alive. No, I don't like that. No, no, thank you. Playing the
Yep.
lion even is like I don't like it. I don't like the lion getting shot. Imagine having your lion get shot by Fuegan, how stressful that would be. I don't want that.
It's not a life you're willing to lead.
Exactly. I don't want to live in the world where like a 4 rollable into a 3-up with a potential reroll is like what I'm banking my game on. No, thank you. Give me like 30 idiots for the same points. Thanks. What's the worst company holiday / Christmas event you've ever been through? Asks Derek.
I don't really have one. Most of the companies I've been part of have been basically fine.
I've never been involved in one.
Yeah, no. The ones at my like very first IT job were actually really nice. It was just like, the group hanging out.
Yeah, like Tesco didn't really do anything. We didn't do a works night out for my last job, and then I like the job I had before I went back to uni didn't do anything, and then we didn't have a stat check night out. So
Yet.
we didn't have stat check Christmas night out where we all just sit and voice and drink on like the 27th or something.
Yeah, you could do.
Maybe have a look at that. We are due the due the group like movie watching night or something.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
Like we promised that a while ago.
Yeah.
What's the least 40k Christmas 40k character?
Least Christmas?
Inquisitor Karamazov. He won't even let you decorate his chair.
Yeah, that's true.
That dude would be real upset if you tried to hang baubles off his 3-barrel multi-meta that doesn't have 3 shots. It has 2, but it's +6 range.
I feel like Scarbrand's probably not a huge fan of the holidays.
Yeah, but you could definitely. I could see Scarbrand letting you decorate his wings.
Maybe.
I could see it.
I'm not convinced.
He chops down the Christmas tree with his big axe, lets you decorate his wings, covered in baubles. I could see he's not using them for anything else.
Yeah, he's certainly not making it to fucking melee.
So Raven Ingress is for, lad.
Oh.
I think Call would have a great time. I think Call really enjoys Christmas. He enjoys the social.
Oh yeah, he's all about it, dude.
Yeah, Call dresses up as Santa for his local like hive like hive scum like nursery. He goes down, he's ho ho ho, Merry Christmas. He gives them all like mechanical dogs that eat your brains. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's good for somebody, not him, but somebody.
But he's gone before it affects him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, what's the most overrated food ingredient in your opinion? If I taste onion in anything, it drives me wild. Like the texture of onion just like triggers me horribly.
Really?
Yeah. So like if I have like a burger and it's got like onion bits in it, as opposed to just like onion through it, I can't do it. And also, I generally just don't like garlic, but I think I may be a vampire because I don't like sunlight. I'm very pale and I don't like garlic. So
yeah, that's fair.
And I'm pretty sure a steak of the heart would kill me. So like
it certainly would.
Boxes.
Yeah. I don't. What's overrated? What like goes and stuff that I'm just like, come on. I can't really think of anything offhand. Bay leaves, I'm pretty sure is just like a scam, but
yeah, probably. Gold leaf is definitely up there. Every like influencer is putting gold leaf just to make their stuff more expensive now. That's quite funny.
Is that real? That's stupid.
Yeah, it's like completely tasteless and it passes straight through you. But
cool.
I could see Glarg making beef Wellingtons with gold leaf through them.
Yeah, I could see that. That seems real.
Thanks, Ben. Andrew asks, do you think a guardless using Chimeras and Taurox is similar to the or trustless is viable in the current meta? What would you fill the rest of the list with?
Indirect?
Yeah, that's what he asked. Armor or artillery. I mean, like, Chimera's full of catachans is pretty solid. It's a good way to get your scoring on the board. The problem is guard don't really have the staying power. Like, you're delivering catachans. I don't know if you've checked the difference between the catachan data sheet and the chosen data sheet, but one of them's a little better when it gets up close to the enemy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Guard just kind of, it's weird because I don't want guard to get cheaper, but guard are also just not good at anything.
I think they're good. Like as
they're
an army,
fine, but they're not like I don't know. Guard. It feels like guard don't really have a competitive advantage besides artillery, and it's the worst thing to have a competitive advantage in because it's just the least healthy for the game. I don't really know how you drive guard to a healthy space right now.
Man, if only there was some way that could point things that have multi-meltas and heavy bolters fucking differently. Anyway,
That does sound impossible. Um, would you rather fight 100 Nurgling sized Great and Clean ones or one Great and Clean one sized Nurgling?
the first one.
A Great and Clean one sized Nurgling, I can't win that fight. Like I can at
Yeah,
least
that's what I'm saying.
potentially
It's not
punch a bunch of
happening.
Great and Clean ones.
Yeah.
Um, Chris asks, are Deathwing Knights still objectively correct over Deathwing Command Squad? There's no such thing as objectively correct in
Yeah, I don't.
basically any context in 40k, but generally, Deathwing Knights are better if you need resilience. Deathwing Command Squads are better if you need damage, if you need like mobility. Um, so if you're gonna like be infiltrating stuff onto an objective with say Vanguard, you probably want to run Deathwing Knights because you know they get there and they're tanky. If you want to run like Gladius or Unforgiven, where you want the speed, you maybe want to lean into Death and Command Squads because they get a bit more damage out of both of them. They get a bit better out of both the moment because they hit worse. They have higher strength. Like there's advantages to both. Death and Command Squads are also 50 points cheaper and have recursion, which may your mileage vary. Alex Betho's Deathwing Unforgiven list was running a command squad because it was cheaper. It needed recursion. It benefits a lot from having a pile of OC because that's what that list needs. Whereas something like the Vanguard Spearhead Detachment or Gladius probably want to stick with Deathwing command squads because they have a bunch of ways to turbocharge the damage output. Having like Lance or Infiltrate are just much better for those two respectively. Although run a Chaplain if you're playing if you're playing Vanguard because you need that +1 to wound.
Yeah. I feel like I need to clarify for chat that I'm not eating the bay leaf. I'm just saying I've put it into and taken it out of something, and it just hasn't.
I do
much a difference.
I do think it's odd that like the platonic ideal of like the Instagram picture of a tomato soup just has a leaf in the middle of it. Like, can it just be like a loaf of bread with butter on it? That's much more appealing.
I mean, like again, I just like haven't really noticed them being in and out. Oh yeah. Aside from that, unrelated, chocolate does just suck. Chocolate's just not that good. It's okay, but like it's not that good. People lose their fucking minds about chocolate, and it's like just fine.
I've eaten a lot of chocolate. It's okay.
It's fine.
Okay. As a long-time Eldar player, would Innes recommend Dark Reapers or Shroud Runners when playing into Custodians on circle spells? Dark Reapers are really good for picking up all of the small backfield stuff like Imperial Navy Preachers and their Collected Assassin if you can get really close with like Fire and Fade and Phantasm. So you can like run your squad of Dark Reapers with Morgan Rob at the board and Phantasms trying to get their own operatives, whereas Shroud Runners are only really good for lethal hits, and unfortunately all the good stuff in Eldar already has lethal hits. Like so yeah.
I just like I don't know.
Dark Reapers seem all right. Like the indirect is pretty solid. You're basically paying for dive at Desolation Marines, but they're a lot cheaper, and I think they're going to be an interesting option once the Codex turns and we see the new Slay. Shroud Runners are just a good day sheet. You can get homers with them turn one. They're very solid for getting to your deployment zone. Good for move blocking with that big base, and they do hand out lethal hits, which can be relevant if you're doing stuff like the Big Ten of Shroud Runners with Big Ten of Shadow Spectre with Guide or something like that. It's a pretty interesting dynamic that you can push into. Is it the most competitive thing right now? No, but that doesn't have to be. Like Eldar have a ton of options going forward.
Oh.
Jake B asks, your favorite AOS faction based on looks alone?
Flesh Eater Courts. Or Soulblight Gravelords. One of the undead factions. I fucking love undead stuff.
I'm gonna have to Google all the AOS factions again. I don't have an inbuilt answer off the head.
Yeah.
So the problem is I like the monsters. Like AOS is about the monsters.
I mean the undead monsters are insane. So
yeah, but like for me, the zombie dragon is still it's a fantasy model. It's not an AOS model.
Sure.
Because it came out, and so like
I mean, Soulblight has monsters that aren't the zombie dragon.
Yeah, that's fair. I really like the big Sigmar dragons, like Kara. Is it Karazhan?
Oh yeah, the
they're like
Stormcast
really
ones.
cool models.
Yeah, they have sick dragons.
I like a lot of the Stormcast stuff, but it just kind of doesn't do it for me as an army. Like the actual Stormcast models, I'm not a huge fan of. Even the new sleeker ones.
Yeah.
I really like the new Empire Griffin Manticore Rider thing.
That's super cool. Sick.
The
new Empire models in general are dope.
Yeah, they are. I quite like the goblin stuff as well. Like
I mean, Anna adores the goblin stuff.
Like
There's their terrain feature is like in that white thing behind me, that display case that she painted. It looks dope.
And obviously, like I really like the Demon's Aesthetic, but that's more of a that's like 40k more than anything else.
It's both, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like I always think of it as being like a fantasy army first and then a 40k army because it came out in that game first.
Fair.
So, but like Dixessa, the big, like the little
Man, those are
very small model, yeah, like the mini knot keeper that just doesn't
yeah,
have 40k rules because they hate us.
they're so
Um,
sick and they're so
yeah,
bad in that game. It's like insane.
yeah, and then you've got like, and I always think the Demon Prince model looks much better in fantasy armor than in 40k armor and stuff like that, right? So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, I like the big monsters. I think the Magma Droth is one of the coolest models in the game, and it's getting ridden by stupid dwarves.
I think it's
As
really
much as I hate 40, as much as in 40k I hate I hate elves and orcs. In fantasy, it's dwarves I hate. So just
really.
work. Yeah, no, it's completely. I love elves in fantasy. Elves are a fantasy fact. That's why I don't like orcs and elves in 40k because they don't. They're not they're not a science fiction faction for me. They're a fantasy faction. And I don't like that they're just ports. So it upsets me, and I don't think they should exist in the game. But in fantasy, like I'm all for it, right? So
Interesting.
inconsistency. I'm happy with it. But like my 40k army was my fantasy army was high elves, right? So
Yeah,
oh, and the Skaven models are still just like the best models that KW ever made.
fair.
Those are so cool.
Let's keep it
Like
cool.
conceptually, I don't think they're the best models, like models, but like
Yeah,
conceptually,
sure.
rat dudes that are techno wizards, it's cool as fuck.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Um, you're not wrong, but I also like Star Wars, so it's okay for me to be mad at things that are mad at this and being consistent.
Yeah.
Um, and yes, Tim, I do use the Sigmar Demon Princes for my non-power armor. I don't put them on I don't give them like the shoulder pads and stuff like that. They get armor because it looks better.
I have no idea which one my prince is. He's also over there.
Well, I imagine yours because he's Sanguinius is probably in power armor.
Yeah, most likely. Mine is so goddamn pretty. I get distracted. I'm like, what? What are you armor? I don't know. This paint job's insane.
And then Paul asks, how much would it take? Would someone have to pay Anthony for you to pay Cybernetica Cohort at LVO?
A lot. That would be very expensive. You'd have to bring the army, pay for me to go to LVO. Like if the new gig is cool about PTO and it just doesn't matter, if people will throw the money at it, I'll go and do that. I'm not picky. I love Castellan robots. I'll go get drunk and fuck around. But like it would be very expensive.
There you go, guys. Very expensive. If you had to put a number to it, ballpark,
12 grand.
there you go. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that'll never happen, so it's fine.
No,
Like there's no shot.
you're safe.
Yeah.
You're safe. I got away with my one for the taking nades to Alana, so
That's true. Narrowly, we almost fucked around with that one.
it was fine. Right, let's do the questions from the super chat, and then we'll quickly blast through the last ones, and then we'll finish up. Tim says, "Stink time, what up, boys?" And Tim is correct.
It's true.
Dan says, "Hello, person at the door."
That's
Hey,
Anna.
hope you're doing well.
She's good. She's in the other room. Cat's
Tim then
asleep.
also says 12 Hammerfall bunkers, which is in reference to what's in the box, which, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, was a bunch of Eldar, including the best Eldar data sheet, the Crimson Hunter, which I actually genuinely think is pretty solid.
Yeah, Innocent making his list worse by putting planes in it. Even more iconic.
I'm not gonna.
Right
I
now.
wouldn't do it until the slate, but like chill for now. But like once the slate drops on that data sheet, we fine. Dan then also said, "I heard you lost your other to Anthony, which is why he sent me an Eldar army. Disrespectful."
Very
Ben
funny.
asks Anthony expectations for USA at Pyra Cup.
I don't really have expectations for the team. It's more of an opportunity for me to watch everybody play in a high pressure. High pressure is a little strong. High, like competition environment. It's as close as we can get to making you guys play WTC without playing a WTC. So it'll be interesting to do that. I told a couple people they were going today, so that'll be Team USA's first like representation of the 2023-2024 roster. So that'll be cool. For other people going to Pyro, you'll have an opportunity to swap for a cool Team USA jersey because we're gonna have new jerseys and stuff.
Hell yeah.
So that'll be a cool thing.
For me, my expectation is that Nick is probably going to be there, as will Sako, Liam, Nassim, Matt Robertson, and I'm expecting Mess.
It should be okay. Nick is looking at going, but is currently getting scammed by trying to buy a house.
Yeah,
So
I heard.
we'll
Rough
see.
times.
Yeah.
Okay. Boris asks, that GSE list in your team, can you talk about how it works? Yeah. So the basic concept of the list is that the Nexus is mostly there to like buff your damage output in certain situations, but you can just run more units and have the same kind of damage output. He's mostly there for using the free possible ballistic skill stratagem, but just spending that on more units and making yourself a little bit more resilient to assassination can help close that differential gap. When you're playing it in teams, you can try to kind of avoid the really bad pairings where you might need the extra damage I put into something like Necrons, where you're not probably not going to push it for a really big win, but you're only going to be playing that matchup for a draw, and you're not expecting more out of it. So it's okay to go a little bit lighter on that and try to like hedge up on some of your better matchups, make them even stronger. The truck is there because it helps you keep a unit off the board that doesn't necessarily have to go through deep strikes. So you can commit like multiple acolyte squads at the same time. Bear in mind that all those demolition charges do have assault. You can also like drive the truck forwards, get it very aggressive with your opponent. It also has the fire support rule for reroll wounds, so it's good for like fighting over the middle with a unit that can actually like get on an objective and potentially live there against something like whirlwinds or things like that will actually struggle to kill that kind of general transport. It also can just chuck the demo charges, then get the guys out and chuck them again in the next turn because the truck used them, not the guys inside. So there's a little bit of like flexibility there for getting more damage output out of your acolytes without necessarily having to hit the 3+ to get them back. Yeah, it's pretty solid. Like, and then you protect your backfield with like saboteurs and a truck, so that you don't just necessarily get jumped to the same degree because you don't have aberrants in that build. You're playing a lot more like aggressively to try and like clear out your opponent's scoring units and stop your blip and stop them from stopping your blips coming back before you get like really into the game. It can be the GSC builds now that can be very swingy on whether your first couple of blips come back or not. If you lose a couple of acolyte squads and just miss the 3 up on both of them, like you're probably going to have a bad time unless something goes very well for you the rest of the game. It's just kind of one of the inbuilt weaknesses of the faction now. Payton asks, what book series do you wish you could read for the first time again?
I don't really have one. I don't think. Like I really fucking liked the like through line of First Heretic, No Fear, and then Betrayer. That was like probably my favorite like little mini series within the Heresy. Yeah, I could probably do that for the first time again. I mean, the first 3 of the Heresy was also quite good. When I have to like vamp up to play Chaos Marines, I will often go back through those and then do it. I don't know. I don't think I have any other like books that I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I have like. I really enjoyed the Discovery with Wheel of Time, but I don't know if I would enjoy doing it again for the first time. The book series is slow if you don't know what's coming sometimes. So like I enjoy it on the reread, like catching all the a lot of the time when I reread books it's to catch references I missed because I enjoy like the series of Discovery and going through it with like a new lens.
Right.
So I don't really know if I I don't know if there's any book series that I'm like upset that I can't read again for the first time. If I'd read Lord of the Rings, maybe I would say that because that's the very traditional one. But I stalled really hard on the first book and never got around to finishing it. So
Fair.
I'm happy to just enjoy those as films. I wish I could unread Harry Potter. Can I go with that? I spent way too much of my life reading that, and fuck her.
Fair.
Yeah, I wish I could never have to think about that series again because she
I
turned
mean,
out
you
not
can
to be a
just
very good person.
you
Yeah,
can
I know,
just
I,
do
I
that.
know, but like you hear people talking about it, and you just kind of like mentally like it comes up, right? It's
Yeah.
annoying, and I wish that didn't happen. And then Domo, which is Noah, says hit him up for cloud computing stuff. It's been his life for 10 years.
Sweet.
So there you go. Right. Are there any general questions?
Oh yeah, there was just so many.
Cool. Go for it.
Hold on, let me scroll down.
There you go. Actually, I mean, like, that's fair too. I wish I could watch the films without knowing who read it. I could without knowing who wrote it. I don't know if I would read the books again, even
Yeah.
knowing that. But like the films are strongly associated with a bunch of other people. That it's a shame that I can't do that with the same level of understanding. But
Yeah. American chocolate does suck, but like European chocolate is better and still not very good. Chocolate just isn't that great. It's okay. Innes did already open the box. I want Anthony to explain how to win the World Eater's Mirror. Oh, this will be fun. All right, so
I'm gonna mute. This is gonna take a while.
no, it's actually not. That's the part that sucks. So sometimes in the game of 40K, how good you are actually just doesn't matter that much. And this is one of those times. The World Eater's Mirror swings really heavily on which one of you went first, which one of you rolled the 4-ups for the fight on death, which one of you didn't get your buffs from Blood Yahtzee, which one of you got Angron back, and mostly just those things and some other stuff like if you took Karn or if you didn't. Did you attach Karn to a squad at the beginning of the game or did you separate him so you'd have more pieces? These are all choices that you can make, but this game is not going to be the most skill intensive, assuming you guys are equal. Like your skill expression won't matter a ton. If one of you is just obviously better than the other, then it might get fucky. But for the most part, it's going to be just dudes rolling dice at each other, hoping for the best. Everybody dies when you make contact, so make that contact count, I guess is the best way to put it.
Fair enough. Which is life. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the like any kind of like indirect mirror match. It's just whoever gets the first good turn, right? Like it doesn't really matter how good you are if you're firing mana cores at each other. Whichever one of you kills the first mana core is probably going to win that game.
You're up, that's for sure.
So, such is life. Any other interesting questions? Idris, the list are on BCP. It's Clan Wars Team Series on Best Coast pairings. And it's literally planning for white bread. I was very upset when I went to have my dinner tonight and there was no bread that I could have with it, so I just had it by itself. It's probably good for me, but
yeah, I'm gonna go eat some soup in a bit.
I'm gonna have soup for lunch tomorrow because I want bread right now.
Nice. All right.
And yes, you do have to invite me inside before I step in the house. It's called being polite, not being a vampire, I promise.
Before I would have been like, yeah, that seems real, but now I'm suspicious.
That's fair. And then Brian says, man, you would hate the Orc Dinosaur life. Yeah, it would stress me out. Having a feel, that's not true. If I have a 5-up Feel No Pain on top of a 4-up Invulnerable save, I feel invincible, and I'm convinced that unit can't die. So it's like, it's a weird space in there. 4-up Invulnerable save, 5-up Feel No Pain is immortal. 4-up Invulnerable save, no Feel No Pain, can't die. It is like instantly dead the second it gets looked at. There is no in between. And Ashley says, Innes played Knights. Yes, I played Knights in 7th edition. They were not my first army. I played like a bad Green Knights and Space Marines mix for a bit, but my first like GT that I podiumed was a triple chaos. It was a triple Knights build with some Space Marine bikes to go alongside it. I lost in the finals in round the finals. Me and the other undefeated player in round 5 played. We then played another game afterwards because it's a 6-round tournament. But like the last undefeated playing a pair off it, I played against an Admech army that shot a knight on turn 1, killed it. That knight fell into my other knight and killed it, and then that knight fell into my third knight and killed it on turn 2,
nice.
which was on turn 1, which was suboptimal to say the least. This is back in the day when like they would scatter with like a big template, and if like you hit the center of it, it was like a destroyer class weapon, which was like a knight one-shotter, and I just like center to center a knight onto each other and scattered it to the third one. It was very painful. Did not have a great time. What did Innes learn from play 4 Nords beside her ridiculousness of the offer toughness 11, no damage? That they're not actually no damage. Strength 12, a bunch of lance cannon attacks. Like the Norn assimilator does, if you're within range, have 12 last cannon shots, 6 last cannon shots that hit on 2s, which is, the same output as a squad of dev sense in some situations. Like it's not that bad. So it's okay. Don't worry too much about it. They're expensive, but they're cool. It's not a bad data sheet. It's just overplayed. It's kind of what I took from it. What would the team Scotland soup be? For me personally, my favorite soup is lentil and bacon. But I am also strongly partial to tomato. I could not speak for the rest of the team. We have never collectively eaten soup, unfortunately. We're not Team America, who all share recipes.
Yo, that shit's dope. It's like one of the best things we do.
And then Ashley says, well, I guess we know why Innes thinks Knights are a dumb, stupid dice rolling army now. Yeah, exactly. That is basically exactly why. I got punished by them and then moved on. I then swiftly moved on to just playing the Space Marines Battle Army, which was significantly stronger than the Knights. I came back to them a little bit in 8th edition. I played Chaos Knights for WTC, which was stressful. But that was more because I played 100 cultists and I happened to have 3 Chaos Knights on my list. It was more about the 100 cultists. They did all the scoring. Every game I lost was because the Chaos Knights did terrible, dumb, bad things, like getting 2d6 shots into a hammerhead and getting 11 shots and 4 hits and 1 wound, which he passed on a cover save. Just classic things like that. Good
Yeah,
old, good old Warhammer.
That's not great.
It was suboptimal. Yeah, it was a bad time. Or playing doing his 250 cultists and having my knights get surrounded so that they couldn't move or fall back from the cultists. Leaving a squad of 40 dudes on one model, which then meant the full squad came back for 2 CP. Just good old Warhammer things.
Warhammer
Got Warhammered real hard.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It was an interesting time. And then I also just generally I don't like playing vehicle armies. I don't love like vehicle pure armies because Haywire exists and it's stressful and there's a lot less anti-monster tech out there. I like monsters more than vehicles.
Fair.
If you're gonna go down the route of playing a 2,000 points of a thing, I would rather it be a monster than a vehicle.
Fair.
Especially now that Drakari don't have any everything except vehicles. That was really annoying for a while, just getting shot to death by splinter pistols, but better times now. Right, Anthony?
I miss them.
I think that's us closing out. Is there anything you want to close us out with?
Nah, nothing specific. We'll have Stats Nerds back next week, ideally.
Yeah, so next week is
the
19th of December. Which means we should. I'm running my clock's ticked over, so I'm having to do tomorrow for me now. So next week is the 19th of December, so we should be here for that one. Don't know if we'll be here on the 26th.
I certainly won't.
Down to people's schedules. I will probably be here, but it depends on what family do. Otherwise, we'll see what other people are doing. We will probably have a much more informal one, and then we should probably be back for a start of New Year one. It should be the second, but we'll see what people are doing, and that's a bank holiday in the UK. But basically, our schedule over the next few weeks is probably going to be a little bit erratic. We'll do our best to be here, but it will depend very much on people's schedules. We might try and have some guest stars. We might do some more informal or shorter episodes. There will be content. We will make it. We can't help it.
That's true. But we have to make it. Content must flow.
I hope everybody has had a wonderful time with us this year on the We Talk Shit episode, and I opened the box. I've been diagnosed with Eldar Player, which I'm a little upset about. I'm going to see how long I can get away with not building this stuff until Dan makes me. I think that'll be an interesting challenge. Why?
It's the best.
It's the worst. Otherwise, and I have 144 Butterfingers in my house now, which is not good for my self-avowed trying to be better plan. We're gonna find out how that goes. If I'm literally the size of Jabba the Hutt next week, you'll know why.
You could just donate them to a local shelter or something, elementary school.
But I like Butterfingers.
Well, that's what one box is
for. Probably going to chuck a box up the Saltire, to be fair.
There you go. Trade them for some Eldar models.
Exactly. I'll take one box of whatever Eldar you have on your shelf for 72 Butterfingers.
If I would have started this episode by telling you that you're going to trade a box of Butterfingers for a box of Eldar, you would have gotten us banned on YouTube.
I still might, honestly. I'm not sure I can handle
it. Quickly close the show before we get banned from you saying terrible things.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us. Go back and check out all the plugs, read them in the description, all that kind of stuff. I'm frankly not doing it again. It's hard enough doing it once an episode. Have a wonderful time. We'll see you all back for episode 73. I've got a wonderful name for the last episode of the year that I did put in the chat, and you are all going to love it. See you all next time. Nobody's going to say bye-bye because Nathan's not here. Have a great time. Anthony, say words.
What?